Those are the eyes of a man who has seen some stuff. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to take a fun little look at what Reno has been up to, leading up to Chapter 100 of Kaiju number 8. Chapter 100 is releasing on the regular weekly schedule, and for the first time in a while, we got a peek at our boy Reno, what he's been doing and what he's been up to. Clearly, he has been training like mad. Oh, there will be spoilers all the way up through Chapter 99, so you have been warned. If you don't want any spoilers, you can click away from this video. I'll give you a minute to do that by mentioning that my books, Humans Are Weird, I have the data, Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out, as well as Dying Embers, are all available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. You have yourself a good laugh or a good cry, depending on what you want. All right. Now that you've had a chance to click away, let's get into the spoilers. I wouldn't say we were surprised to see Reno rock up and save the day. That is, after all, what his whole character arc has been building towards ever since he took that vow to get strong enough to protect Kafka so Kafka didn't have to stand alone and so Kafka didn't have to kill himself using the Kaiju number 8 power. And we saw his training arc with the 4th Division, where he began to be able to use the weapon number 6, and now we see him rock up looking absolutely ragged. So Reno shows up, and we really only see him in one panel in any clarity, and he's got lines under his eyes. And just compare the look in his eyes from between the first times he started fighting with freeze rounds and when he shows up as the master of weapon number 8. He has that same intensity, but he has clearly been forged, honed. And Matsumoto is really a master of capturing, call it the vibe, the essence, the aura of a character. Just by the way that Matsumoto uses the few lines that are available to him in this manga style, we can tell that Reno now has a ton more confidence than he had the last time he was using this weapon, or when we saw him face down number 9 in that spatial distortion bubble, back when Kafka and the rest of the 3rd Division were fighting that fungal kaiju. Reno has confidence, but he also has that zealotous devotion to what he considers to be his duty. And to me, that is still a sign that we are to look at Reno as being suspicious. Now, I've done multiple videos on why Reno is suspicious. It basically boils down to he was always in the wrong place at the wrong time. Reno was there when that kaiju attacked Kafka at the work site and injured him and sent him to the hospital. Reno was there when that little kaiju comes out of nowhere, somehow breaks into the hospital, gets past all the hospital's security features, and believe me, hospitals have tons of security features designed to keep vermin like mice and rats out. Because even in the real world, these vermin carry plagues and diseases, and hospitals have been the design of a hospital has been forged over centuries to keep those things out. So it is suspicious that that thing showed up in there. And again, Reno was there. Then there's the behavioral bit. Reno was suspiciously cool with Kafka transforming into Kaiju number 8. Reno was unsuspicious, was trusting, and it just didn't quite match up with the rest of what we've seen of his character. Reno decides, okay, I'm going to be ride or die with this guy who just turned into a Kaiju. Reno doesn't know Reno literally met Kafka yesterday. And maybe this was a secret Kafka was hiding for a long time. Who knows? But then Reno helps Kafka escape before he sees Kafka risk his life to rescue that girl. So that couldn't have been the motivating factor there. Then, even after Kafka and Reno have discussed the Reno not letting Kafka slow him down at the test, Reno says, some version of I have to stick with you. And Kafka makes a point of saying, I guess that's just how Reno's wired. This whole interaction was very deliberately done. And at the time that we first saw it, we said, okay, maybe it just has these weird vibes because Matsumoto didn't intend to. But by now we know that, like I said, Matsumoto is a master of vibe, of energy, of hints, of subtle hints. And in these conversations, these bits of scraps of conversation we see between Reno and Kafka, it can easily be read as Reno is just a very standard shonen manga deuteragonist who is just loyal because he is loyal. But we also know that Matsumoto is brilliant at using the established tropes of shonen manga to blind the audience to plot twists going forward. So yes, it is entirely possible that Reno is just a loyal manga deuteragonist, but it's also possible that Reno had a more selfish motivation for sticking close to Kafka. If Reno was responsible in some way, shape, or form for what happened to Kafka, if Reno was part of the process that chose Kafka, that because we know that Kafka was chosen, the little guy, the little kaiju that started this says, I found you. And if Reno was part of that process of finding a host for the little guy, Reno could feel guilty or responsible for what happened to Kafka, or Reno might be acting under orders to keep an eye on the test subject. And these are not contradictory explanations. If Reno, as we see, is a decent person who takes care of his friends, and once he's formed this friendship with Kafka, he would feel guilty, would feel responsible for what happened to Kafka. So maybe it's one, the other, maybe it's both. But when Reno rocks up in chapter 99, he's looking rough, he's looking ragged. He's got those lines under his eyes, his hair is falling a different way. When a manga character's hairstyle changes, and it's a fairly subtle change, but that generally symbolizes something important about the character changing, because hairstyle is one of the ways you give your character a distinct outline. If you go to any manga drawing class, they'll say this. If you want a distinctive character, you need to be able to identify them from their outline. And a distinct change in hairstyle changes something about how the character is perceived. So Reno, again, he rocks up, he's changed, but he still has that fanatic devotion to Kafka. And in this scene, maybe it's just me, so tell me what you think in the comments below. Am I just reading too much into this because this is Betty Adams Overanalyzes, I love to overanalyze things? Or did you, one of my wonderful viewers, see that same suspicious fanaticism in Reno's face when he shows up and tells Kafka to go rescue Mina? Reno's got this. What do you think? Leave a comment below telling me what you think. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans Are Weird, we took a vote. The second book of Human Absurdity is now available in audiobook format everywhere where audiobooks are sold. Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Kobo by Rakuten, and of course, Audible and Amazon. So you can now get a copy of the audiobook format of all 70,000 words of Human Absurdity.